Hello everyone, welcome to another series of Mind Map. Today's topic of discussion is fundamental duties. We will discuss about the evolution of fundamental duties, list of fundamental duties, enforcement of fundamental duties, criticism and significance. So first of all, let's have a look at the evolution of fundamental duties. Originally, the fundamental duties were not added to the Constitution of India, although every citizen should be aware of his duties while enjoying the rights. In 1976, the fundamental duties were added to the Indian Constitution by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. One more duty was added in 2002 by the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act. Fundamental rights are correlative with fundamental duties and are inseparable. The duties are characterized as moral duties and civic duties. The concept of fundamental duties is taken from the USSR Constitution. These duties were added on the recommendation of the 𝐃𝐞𝐤𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐢 committee. Certain recommendations of the committee were not included, such as penalty imposition for violation, duty to pay tax, etc. Now moving on to list of fundamental duties. Article 51A says that it shall be duty of every citizen of India to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem, to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national freedom, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so, to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic and regional or sectional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to protect and improve the natural environment including forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures, to develop the scientific temper, humanism and the spirit of inquiry and reform, to safeguard public property and to abjure violence, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. For parent or guardian to provide opportunities for education to his child or ward between the age of 6 and 14 years. Now let's discuss about enforcement of fundamental duties. Fundamental duties, unlike some fundamental rights, extend only to the citizens and not to the foreigners. Fundamental duties are non-justiciable like the directive principles of the state policy or DPSP. The Constitution does not provide for their direct enforcement by the courts. However, in the case of citizens holding public office, each and all fundamental duties can be enforced by suitable legislation and departmental rules of conduct. The Parliament is free to enforce them by suitable legislation. There is no legal sanction against their violation. Fundamental rights, on the other hand, are justiciable, and any person can move the High Court or Supreme Court directly for their enforcement. Criticism of fundamental duties. The list of duties is not comprehensive as it does not cover many important duties. 𝐃𝐞𝐤𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐢 committee suggested the duty to pay taxes, but it was not included. Some duties are vague and hard to understand for the common man, example, composite culture, scientific temper, etc. They have been described as moral codes as they are non-justiciable. Critics describe their inclusion as superfluous as they are of nature that they will be performed by citizens anyway. Their position in the Constitution had been criticized as they say the duties should have been placed after the fundamental rights. Now lastly, let's discuss about the significance. The fundamental duties remind every citizen that they should not only be conscious of their rights but also of their duties. The fundamental rights in Part 3, the DPSP in Part 4 and the fundamental duties in Part 4A forms a compendium and have to be read together. They serve as a source of inspiration for the citizens and promote a sense of discipline and commitment among them. The Verma Committee on Fundamental Duties of the Citizens 1999 identified the existence of legal provisions. No person can disrespect the national flag, Constitution of India and the national anthem under the Prevention of Insults to National Honor Act 1971. The Protection of Civil Rights Act 1955 provided for punishments in case of any offence related to caste and religion. The Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 prohibits trade in rare and endangered species, and the Forest Conservation Act of 1980 checks indiscriminate deforestation and diversion of forest land for non-forest purposes. Now it's time for the practice questions. First of all, prelims question. In the context of India, which one of the following is correct relationship between rights and duties? Rights are correlative with duties. Rights are personal and hence independent of society and duties. Rights, not duties, are important for the advancement of the personality of the citizens, or duties, not rights, are important for the stability of the state. And now mains question. Fundamental duties are not made enforceable by a writ of court like the fundamental rights, but they are fundamental to the well-being of society and individuals. Critically examine.